What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Collective MMA channel. I'm here with my guy, the Wager Zone, for episode 9 of Fight IQ, and we're going to break down LFA 238 going down in Brazil. Wager, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Third time this week we're going to be on here with Fight IQ. We had a busy week last week, had a busy week this week. I think next week we might get a little bit of a break. Not so many events on, but either way, like UFC will be there. But I'm very excited for this card. One thing about Brazil, you get a lot of big favorites for the most part for UFC. I mean, for LFA Brazil for the most part, you get a lot of big favorites, but there are some prospects on this card that I do think have a chance to make it to the UFC one day. There's one in particular, and we will get there once we talk about that fight. But yeah, excited for this event.
For sure. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Typically, the LFA fights in Brazil, there's a lot of interesting fights, a lot of bangers. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to breaking these down with you and then, yeah, checking it out tomorrow. So, without any further ado, we will jump right into it. With our first fight of the night, we have Júlia Barros versus Amanda Rafaela. We have Barros coming in at minus 400 and Rafaela at plus 300. What do you like in this one?
This fight is gonna be an interesting fight. First fight of the night, especially, always scares me for the most part in any organization, especially a women's MMA first fight, kind of scares me on it. But still, I think Barros is gonna have a little bit, probably the overall better fight. Like we're starting off the card with a giant favorite at minus 400. She has a really good Brazilian jiu-jitsu game. She does a really good job of like securing takedowns and controlling their opponent once she gets to the floor. And Rafaela, she kind of struggles with grapple heavy fighters in the past, which is the major concern for her in this spot. Rafaela also hasn't faced the strongest level of competition. I do believe this is a difficult step up for her in competition as well. Barros' the biggest advantage in this spot is going to be her direct attacks on the weaknesses. Obviously the grappling game. She's going to be going right at her to get her down to the floor, and I do believe that's where it's going to end up. The price is expensive on it, but I do think Barros is going to get this fight to the floor, control it, and eventually get a submission victory. So my official pick is going to be Julia Barros, and most likely, like I said, either a one-sided decision with a lot of top control, or she'll eventually get that submission.
All right. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there. Yeah, Bajos, okay striker. Yeah, mainly just looking to get to the takedowns though. Uses to set up her entries. Yeah, decent takedown defense. If she does get taken down, she does a good job of working back up, or she scrambles. Yeah, pretty good grappling, pretty good ground and pound. Yeah, decent control. And then yeah, Hafela, decent striker. So throw leg kicks. She's a little bit hittable on the feet. Not the best takedown defense. If she does get taken down, she will try to work to get back to her feet, but she can also end up getting stuck against the cage and end up losing minutes up against the cage. And she typically struggles against opponents who are looking to grapple her. So, yeah, overall, I do think the price is a little wide. And yeah, I mean, Bajos is 2-0 professionally, and Rafaela has never had a pro fight before. So it's like, there's definitely some unknowns, and the level of competition they've been fighting is questionable. So, yeah, I think Bajos wins a decision here and she'll get the takedowns going, get her grappling going. But yeah, at minus 400, I'm not sure if I'm going to end up playing this one. So we will keep on moving. Next up, we got Diego Costa versus Ricardo Lemos. This one, like Lemos, I didn't actually find much or like really any tape on him at all. He does have 3 submission wins on his resume by guillotine, calf slicer, and anaconda, and he is only 18 years old. Yeah, Lemos is minus 350 in this one, and Costa is plus 270. So the 18-year-old kid is minus 350. So I think that kind of speaks volumes, and he's going up against a 30-year-old. So yeah, I also didn't see too much tape on Costa here. So yeah, don't have a strong opinion on this fight. Not super invested either way, but yeah, I'm gonna think that Lemos gets this fight to the mat and gets it done by submission. So that'll be my pick. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on Lemos in this spot. But one thing about Diego Costa, he is a very fun striker. This guy puts up a lot of different strikes, a lot of different attacks coming at you with different techniques. The one thing he does struggle with is takedown defense. That's what's probably gonna be his demise in this fight. There's some fights in the past that he has managed to stop takedowns and he end up winning it. But in my opinion, I think it's gonna be the best grappler he's faced in his whole entire career in Lemos. Lemos is like young, very talented Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist. Especially with especially he's gonna have a big advantage once this fight, if it does get to the floor, which I do believe is gonna get to the floor. Costa is probably going to have the physical strength advantage, especially being the older, more experienced guy, and the other one guy, being 18 and very young. So he's probably going to have a big strength advantage, and that could help him defend some takedowns. But if Costa is trying to force a striking fight, pushing forward like he's most likely going to do, I do think it's going to lead to a lot of takedowns for Lemos, easier to take him to the floor, and I do believe eventually Lemos is going to get this fight done by submission. Probably takes his back, lock up a rear naked choke, and I see Lemos getting this done by submission.
All right. Next up, we got Pedro Souza versus Pedro Ribeiro. We have Souza at minus 360 and Ribeiro at plus 285. What do you like in this one?
The battle of the Pedros in this one. So which Pedro is going to get it off? This one I'm going to be taking Souza. I think Souza is just very well rounded from what I've seen. He's a very high level prospect that every single test that's been thrown at him, he has passed it. The one thing that kind of sucks is that we haven't been able to see Souza's recent like LFA fights because they haven't been broadcasted. You have to go and watch him before the LFA. But Ribeiro is more mainly of a Muay Thai striker and more using those Muay Thai striking with kicks and everything. But what's it called? Souza, I think he can hold his own in the striking very well here. And honestly, I think he might even be the more effective striker going forward. But overall, I think Souza is going to be able to mix in some takedowns, land some striking as well. And I do believe overall he's probably going to be able to control Ribeiro for the most part. Like I said, if this fight's a striking fight, I do think Souza can hold his own in the striking. But for the most part, I do believe he's going to be able to mix in the takedowns. A very well rounded, high level prospect. And I do like Souza. The minus 400 price tag is expensive, but he might actually be a reliable parlay piece this weekend. Because, like I said, very high level prospect, and I'm actually very high in this guy. So give me Souza to grind out a victory, and I'm gonna say he probably wins by decision.
All right. Yeah, I echo a lot of what you said there. Yeah, Souza, yeah, more well-rounded guy. Yeah, it's a kind of a shame that we can't watch his last two LFA fights. Yeah, it's something that I wish they, would be able to get those early prelims available to watch. But yeah, his last two wins in the LFA got them done by decision. And yeah, the other Pedro Ribeiro here, yeah, he's all right. Yeah, I do agree. Like if they're striking, I think this fight could be somewhat competitive. But yeah, I just think Sousa is going to have the edge in the grappling here. Look to get the fight to the mat, and then he can end up winning minutes and banking rounds from that approach. So yeah, give me Sousa and give me Sousa by decision.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Neto Lopes versus Almir Augusto. We have Lopes at minus 360, and we have Augusto at plus 285. Lopes, he's a pretty good striker. Mixes it up, mix up his strikes, mix up his targets, pressure style, can go for takedowns of his own, opportunistic back takes, good ground and pound, pretty good grappling. Augusto, I actually wasn't able to find any tape on him. He hasn't fought the best competition by any means from his topology, and he is getting some finishes on the regional scene, but again, not fighting super high level competition. So, yeah, I don't have not super passionate about this one, but I think Lopes likely gets this one done by knockout. So yeah, but I'm probably gonna leave this one alone just because I don't know too much about Augusto. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to be on Lopes in this one. Lopes is coming off of back-to-back spinning attacks and getting some pretty decent knockouts in back-to-back fights. So I'm very actually excited to see what he's going to bring to this fight. Augusto, I do believe, though, he's going to be able to compete with the striking a little early. But one thing about Lopes, he's a very flashy striker. Like I said, back-to-back spinning attacks to win fights. But he does have a sneaky submission game where he can take guys to the floor, and he does have a sneaky jiu-jitsu game. So I think that just the threat of the spinning attacks going against the fighter that of Augusto's level and young, I do believe he's going to land openings for more combinations to be able to mix in the takedowns. And I do think that this is where we are going to see a more of Lopes's grappling. I think he's going to be able to go to the grappling because I do think Augusto's going to be competitive with the striking for the most part in the beginning of the fight. But I just believe the overall better fighter and Lopes is going to be able to get this fight probably to the floor. And Augusto doesn't really have a good ground game at all, and I do believe he's gonna probably end up getting submitted. There's another fight where I think it can be a submission as well. A lot of people I see are picking knockout in this fight, and I understand it. This guy has like a whole bunch of spinning knockout attacks. Shows he's a flashy striker. I understand it, but I do believe this is gonna be a fight where I do think he's gonna mix in the grappling, take this fight to the floor. He could win a decision or he can get a submission. So give me Lopes in this one.
All right. Next up, we got Ramana Toscanelli versus Carol Araujo. We have Ramana Toscanelli at minus 217 and Araujo at plus 173. What do you like in this one?
This is going to be the first underdog spot on the card that actually really catches my attention in Kara Araujo. Toscanelli, a jiu-jitsu black belt, but she relies heavy on her strength and physicality. The one thing I've noticed is her striking seems very predictable and like very robotic. That's the one thing she very struggles with very much. And the opponents really do have six. If opponents have had success, like all opponents that have had success in her takedown and stopping her takedowns, she does not do well on the feet at all. So this is a good spot because I do think Araujo's takedown defense is going to be able to hold up for the entirely of the matchup, and that she can stop these takedowns, keep the fight on the feet. I do think she can land the bigger strikes and probably pull off a decision win. So this is more of I'm not gonna lay minus 220 on Toscanelli when, like I said, her striking very robotic. I'm not gonna lay that price tag, and I do believe there's more past the victory in Araujo to stop the takedowns and be able to outstrike her and pull off a decision. So this fight can be close, and at plus 180, give me Araujo all day. I do think this is a good value spot for an underdog.
All right. Yeah, and this one, Toscanelli, yeah, definitely not the biggest fan of her striker. I echo some of what you're saying. Yeah, she's fairly limited. Does have okay takedowns, pretty good grappling though. Attack submissions, good ground and pound. And then yeah, Araujo is a pretty good striker, good boxing. Again, hasn't fought the best competition by any means, and definitely doesn't have a very pretty record by any means either. Yeah, I from a betting standpoint, I do agree it's dog or pass. I'm not going to bet Toscanelli here, but I do think Toscanelli is going to be good enough to get this one done. I get it. She laid an egg and lost last time as a favorite and looked very bad in that fight. But I don't think that this is a spot where I think she gets it done here. I don't know if this is the spot to fade her again. Like yes, from a betting standpoint, it would be dog or pass. I'm not saying I'm betting her, but I do think she gets this one done probably by submission. Yeah, I think her experience and grappling is going to be too much for Araujo here. Yeah, as you mentioned, if Araujo can stop the takedowns, she's absolutely going to be a live underdog and probably wins this fight. I absolutely agree with that, but I'm probably just going to end up leaving this one alone. So yeah, pick Toscanelli, but as a bet, I definitely agree it would be a dog or pass.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, next up we have Thiago Taveira versus Wendrio Chaves. We have Taveira at minus 167 and Chaves at plus 136. This is going to be my first dog of the night. Give me Chaves here. He's a good striker, pressure, good boxing combos, speed, leg kicks. He's athletic, dynamic attack. He can scramble. He can also go for takedowns of his own. And then you have Taveira. He's a decent striker. You know, he'll throw a body kick, jab, some combos, leg kicks. But I don't know. You know what? Like Chaves here, he's going to be younger, faster, more athletic. And I wasn't really all that impressed from Taveira's tape. Chaves is 20. He's going to have the upside in this one. I'd rather, take a chance on him in this spot than lay chalk with Taveira. So, yeah, I like Chaves here. I think he gets this one done probably by knockout. So give me Chaves. What about you?
This one is going to be such an entertaining fight. Two aggressive strikers that I'm actually kind of excited to watch this fight. This might arguably be the fight of the night, honestly. But I'm going to go on Taveira in this spot, just because I just think Taveira is just a little bit more experienced and he's better trained and more technically a polished fighter. One thing I do scares me is Chavez is very dangerous in the striking game, so you don't want to afford to get into a reckless brawl with a guy like Chavez at all. But Tavares trains with the guy like and John Matsumoto, and they show a lot of similarities with their aggressive like Muay Thai styles they do fight with. And I do believe he's going to be able to get some wrestling off in this fight as well. Chavez has struggled in the past with the grappling and before in his previous fights, so the wrestling could be a smart game plan for Tavares in this fight. But even if he doesn't get to the takedowns and makes into a more striking fight, I just think that he is more of the better fighter on the feet, more technically sound. Like I said, as long as he doesn't get in a brawl with Chavez, I do believe he's more technically sound. He can use that Muay Thai style striking to end up winning this fight. I'm gonna say Taveira is my pick. I think he's just gonna out damage Chavez along the fight. I think this fight goes all 3 rounds, and I think it's gonna come down to the damage. And I think Tavares is gonna be the one to Taveira to be able to put more damage on him overall the whole entire fight. So I think minus 180 is probably one of the more reasonable lines on this card than a lot of these heavy favorites earlier in this card. So I actually might have some action on Taveira, but I'll have to think about that one. But Taveira's gonna be my official pick, and I think he does it by decision in a great fight.
Next up, we got Marcio Cabral versus Rômulo Oliveira. We have Cabral coming in at minus 217 and Oliveira at plus 173. What do you like in this one?
Another fight that could be fight of the night. This is going to be another great fight. This is probably one of the most volatile fights on the entire card. Both guys are very capable of scoring and getting like a quick finish and knocking somebody out really fast. And both have shown they can be hurt before. So this is going to be a volatile fight. One you don't want to put your money on at all because either one of these guys can get knocked out. One thing about Oliveira, I'll give him some credit, is he's been on a winning streak recently. He's trying to turn his whole entire career around, especially being with the fighting nerds. It just suggests, and you watch his tape, that he's gotten a lot of improvement since he's been with the fighting nerds. But I think Mauricio Cabral is going to be able to test Oliveira, and I'm going to be taking Cabral in this fight. Mainly just because I just do believe that Cabral is the more aggressive fighter, and I think he's going to be able to apply the pressure and from going forward for the most part. And I do expect Cabral to land more of the damage going early, and then I do think Oliveira probably bust up Oliveira and overwhelm him over the fight. And I do think the one thing that scares me is I'm not going to pay minus 170 on this one at all in a volatile fight like this. So to me, it's just pass on it. I don't want to put money on the underdog, but that might be what the value is. So I'm going to say Cabral, and I think he gets this fight done by first round knockout.
All right. Yeah, Cabral, good striker, pressure, got some good power. He likes to throw power shots. He is a bit hittable and much prefers to move forward. Oliveira, yeah, he seems like an all right striker. He'll throw some leg kicks. Hasn't really fought the greatest competition. And yeah, he is on a winning streak. And yeah, now training with the fighting nerds. It obviously seems like he is improving. But yeah, from what I've seen, I think Cabral is just going to be the better fighter in this one. I do think somebody's probably getting knocked out in this one either way. But yeah, I just trust Cabral's experience more. So for me, he would be the pick in this one. Moving on to our next fight, we have Leonardo Cerboni at minus 240 and Wily Pereira at plus 200. In this one, yeah, I think Cerboni, he's a decent striker. He'll throw leg kicks, jab. He's got some decent wrestling, and he's got some good trip style takedowns as well. Good grappling, decent top control. And then you have Wily Pereira, decent striker, dynamic attack, is a bit wild at times, throwing flying knees, that kind of thing. He is pretty athletic. One thing I don't like about Pereira is his fight IQ. I think it's below average or mediocre fight IQ. Yeah, I think you got to take Cerboni here. I think he's going to end up likely winning a boring decision. I think he's going to end up getting takedowns and winning minutes and banking rounds while Pereira is on his back, throwing up submissions, throwing up arm bars, triangles, that kind of thing that aren't going to lead to him having much success. So yeah, give me Cerboni and give me Cerboni by decision. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to be on the Cerboni side here. I do like Wily Pereira. I do think he's a decent fighter. But I think this fight's going to come down to where I just think Cerboni is overall the more talented fighter all around. He did pull off the upset his LFA debut against JP Mojeas, where he showed striking, he showed takedowns, he showed some solid control. And obviously, Pereira is probably going to be the more experienced fighter here. But I just don't think he's a better fighter. So I am going to say Cerboni wins this fight, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be close for the beginning, but overall, I think Cerboni is just gonna be pushing forward, doing a little bit more work, and I do believe he wins this fight by decision.
All right, next up we got Aristides Vinicius versus Alexandro Cangatti. We have Vinicius at minus 400 and Cangatti at plus 300. What do you like in this one?
I like Vinicius in this one. He's coming off a very impressive win against Brito in his last fight. Most people actually expected Vinicius, including me, to be a grappling heavy game plan in that fight. But he surprised everyone with the aggressive striking that he actually had in that fight. That pressure really shut down Brito's offense and allowed Vinicius to win the fight overall. Vinicius, one thing about him, he's very well-rounded. I do believe that the grappling is still the strongest part of his game. And Kangati, he enters his LFA debut 12-4-2, and he appears to be more of a striker. He does have some experience, but I do believe Vinicius is going to have to get to his grappling in this game, because once he gets to the grappling, I do think there's going to be a lot of takedown opportunities, and I do think that he's going to be able to control him on the floor. And then once that happens, I do believe he's probably going to win this fight. I'm going to say probably by decision, just grind him out. But I do think Vinicius is going to have to get to his grappling background in this spot.
All right. Yeah, Vinicius, he's a pretty good striker, good pressure. He likes to finish the fight, got good leg kicks, dynamic attack. Yeah, he likes to go for his takedowns as well. Good timing on his level changes. And yeah, obviously, he can have success on the mat for sure and win minutes, absolutely. And Kangati, yeah, he's a decent striker, pressure, combos, leg kicks. Doesn't have great experience, and I've seen him do some things that are red flags to me in a couple of his fights. Yeah, I think Vinicius gets this one done either by decision or by late finish. Yeah, I just think his experience here will show. And yeah, whether he wants to grapple or on strike on the feet, I think he's honestly able to have success in whichever area he wants this fight to take place. So yeah, give me Vinicius in this one. Next up, we have Rayan Candose versus Felipe Hosa. We have Kadose at plus 200 and Hosa at minus 240. This is an interesting one. Kadose is a decent striker, very athletic, got good leg kicks, combos, some decent power, decent takedown defense. He can cage push, and he look to have some decent grappling. And then on the Hosa side, you have, he's a pretty good striker, got combos, variety of kicks. He does get a bit wild at times. He'll clinch. He likes to throw knees in the clinch. Seems to have pretty good takedown defense and has good grappling in his own right. Yeah, I think Hosa ends up getting this one done by finish. I think he's going to be the more complete overall fighter and have better experience here. But I was looking at the weigh-ins on the LFA Instagram page, and yeah, Kadose is a good athlete, man. He's definitely going to be bigger and more physical in this one. So yeah, I'm not sure if I end up playing this one, but yeah, I think Hosa at the end of the day finds a way to get this one done. What about you?
I agree. I like Hosa in this fight. Felipe Hosa is one of the prospects that I've been very excited for since watching his LFA debut back in May. Hosa, very nasty striker with a very strong technique and a crazy knockout power. Cardose, he looks still very raw and appears to rely heavily on his athleticism and power and explosiveness more than natural technique. I do think Cardose is going to have to get to the takedowns in this fight. I don't think he's going to be able to strike with Hosa. One thing I do think is that I don't really know too much about Hosa's grappling background. The one thing that scares me is if he gets put on his back, I don't know how he's going to be able to deal with that. So the unanswered questions I have from Hosa's grappling overall from being on his back, and I do think Cardose is going to try to get him to the floor. If he does get on his back, that's the one thing that scares me off the minus 280 line, because if Cardose can just consistently just wrestle this fight, he does have a realistic path to making this very uncomfortable fight for Hosa. But however, honestly, however long the fight stays on the feet, if that fight's on the feet for the most part, I think Hosa's eventually going to find the chain and put away Cardose. So give me Felipe Hosa, and I think he does it by knockout.
Next up, we got Daniel Araujo versus Victor Gabriel. We have Araujo coming in at minus 550 and Gabriel coming in at plus 400. What do you like in this one?
Give me Daniel Araujo. I'm a big fan of this guy, honestly. I know he lost his last fight as a big favorite, and a lot of people are hopping off him in this spot. He's minus 500. I think on the book I saw, I think he's minus 500. I feel like honestly, that's because he should be a bigger favorite in this fight, but since he burned everybody's parlays last time, I feel like we're getting him at a little bit better price tag. Both these fighters are primarily strikers. Araujo is more reliant on his boxing, and he has very, very nice boxing. Gabriel brings a lot of that kickboxing Muay Thai style with kicks, knees, tries to keep the fight at range with longer range attacks. But I just believe Araujo's boxing will be the more effective weapon in this fight, just getting on the inside, using those hooks coming in on the inside of the fight. And I do believe once he closes the distance and takes away a lot of Gabriel's kicking range and everything, I do believe that's where he's going to end up landing a hard shot, and I do believe he can end up pulling away. I do expect Araujo's grappling defense to hold up in this fight, mainly just because if Gabriel tries to get this fight to the floor, he hasn't shown me anything where he's more of a the grappler. Mainly, like I said, they're both mainly striking fighters. So, in my opinion, I think Araujo is just going to put pressure on him and pick him apart with his hands and eventually find the finish. So, yeah, give me Daniel Araujo, and I think he does it by knockout. I'm not trying to be overconfident in him just because I really like the guy, and I'm actually probably going to be interviewing him very soon. I've actually contacted him and talked to him a lot. He's a very nice guy. So I don't want to be biased in this one. I don't want to just say, oh, it's a lock for sure, but I really do like him in this spot.
All right. Yeah. Araujo, good striker, good boxing. Yeah. Pressure, power shots, can mix it up. He does work back to the feet if get taken down. Doesn't have the best grappling. And then, yeah, Gabriel, pretty good striker, kickboxing style, arsenal of kicks. He can throw some combos, okay grappling. He will jump the guillotine, which I don't like. So yeah, overall, I think Araujo probably gets this one done by KO. I think it's going to primarily play out on the feet in this one. And this is a good bounce back spot for him after losing last time out. So give me Araujo and give me Araujo by knockout. Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Juan Pablo Vieira versus Eduardo Terencio. We have Vieira coming in at minus 1,000 and Terencio at plus 661. Yeah, Vieira, good striker, bit of a brawler. Gets hit at times, but can definitely take a punch as well. Good boxing combos. Seems to have some pretty decent grappling as well. Terencio, okay striker, tends to back straight up. Okay grappling. Yeah, again, overall, he's minus 1,000. That speaks pretty good volume there. Yeah, Vieira's gonna get this one done by finish. I don't think this will be that close. Yeah, Vieira's probably gonna get this one done early on in the fight. Terencio hasn't really fought great competition, and I think he's going to be in big trouble in this one. So, yeah, I like Vieira by early knockout. What about you?
Yeah, this is a fight. Just don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. JPV is one of my favorite prospects coming out of LFA. I've been watching this guy for a while. This guy has the goods. I really believe this guy's going to be in the UFC one day. One thing about him is I do believe this is like a squash match. I don't know how to pronounce the other guy's name. Is it Terencio? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Toronto, like he's 35 years old. He only has one victory against a guy with a winning record, and that I believe that came back in like March of 2019. So that was a long time ago. He's 35. He's getting old. He hasn't fought the best competition. What's it called? I just expected Vieira to take control of this fight immediately when this fight starts. He's minus 1,000. Obviously, it's hard to not. It's hard to parlay minus 1,000, but I guess it'll add something to your parlay if you want to add it. But the one spot I'm actually going to be looking in this fight, once they release totals, I'm gonna look at the under 1.5 because I do believe this fight gets done early. I think he's gonna finish him in that first round, so I'm gonna be eyeballing that under 1.5 in this fight because I think Vieira puts it on early and ends up finishing this fight in the first round.
All right, next up we got Claudio Nardo versus Gabriel Vinicius. We have Vinicius coming in at minus 350 and Nardo at plus 225. What do you like in this one?
Co-main event. This is going to be a good fight. Both grappling heavy type of fighters. One thing I do think we're going to see is a lot of clinch exchanges, a lot of scrambles overall. But to me, Nardo is more of the aggressive fighter, but he can just get really sloppy and reckless. I do believe his aggression is going to make him dangerous, but I do think it's going to create a lot of openings for Vinicius. I think he's a lot more disciplined. He's overall the better grappler in my opinion. I expect Vinicius just to be calm when Nardo changes forward and possibly catch him with one of the clean counters. And then in the grappling exchanges, Nardo may find some early positions because of just, like I said, aggressive fighter and tries to push forward a lot. But I just think Vinicius is going to be able to reverse a lot of those positions. And then a lot of the important scrambles, I do think he's going to end up on top. So for this fight, Give me Vinicius in this spot. I do think it's fight's gonna go all 3 rounds because both these guys have some decent grappling. So I don't know if they're gonna be able to finish each other. But for the most part, I think it's gonna go all 3 rounds. And I think Vinicius is just a better overall fighter. I think he's a little bit better everywhere, and I think he wins this fight by decision.
All right. Yeah, Nardo, decent striker, a little bit hittable, can go for takedowns of his own. Doesn't have the best top control. Yeah, Vinicius is a good striker, good clinch, knees, pretty good takedown defense, and he can go for some reversals as well. I think Vinicius is going to get this one done by either late finish or decision. I think he's going to be the better fighter here. And yeah, I think he maintains that undefeated record and gets this one done. So moving on to our main event of the evening, we have Herbert Souza versus Paulo Portillo. We have Souza coming in at plus 220. Sorry, minus 220, and Portillo coming in at plus 180. Yeah, this one, Souza is a decent striker, pressure style, likes to mix it up, punches and kicks. Throw some combos, mainly strikes to set up his takedowns. He'll attack subs. He will jump the ghillie, which I don't love. Prefers to be moving forward. Can go for takedowns of his own. Variety of takedowns as well he has. He'll go for the cage push, opportunistic back takes, good grappling, pretty good wrestling. He does slow as the fight goes on, which could be a concern in this one if he doesn't get the fight done early. And on the Portillo side, decent striker. He'll throw some leg kicks, high kicks. He can also go for takedowns of his own. He's got decent grappling. He can go for the cage push, and he is position over submission. I think Sousa gets this one done by finish, likely in the first round of this fight or first round and a half. Yeah, I just think he's going to be able to implement his grappling game and find a way to finish this fight on the mat. So give me Sousa and give me Sousa by finish. What about you?
This is a very interesting main event. This is one I'm going to keep a close eye on because I think both these fighters have some skills. It's going to come down to, I think, who's going to have the better overall grappling and cardio. That's why I think this fight's going to come down to. The one thing I've noticed is these guys have 36 fights, and 23 of the 36 fights combined have finished by submission. 23 out of 36. There's only 13 fights combined that these fighters did not get a submission. So that's kind of a crazy stat. A lot of these, like I said, grappling heavy fighters. Neither of these fighters have, especially they're not really comfortable when they're prolonged to be striking for a long time. Both these guys really try to get the fight to the floor. Herbert Souza, in my opinion, he's probably more the pure grappler in the spot, and he has the clearest path to an early submission in this fight. The concern I have with Souza is that he has been very inactive, and this will be his first legitimate opponent in 4 years. If you go look at his recent competition, he's fought a lot of squash matches in his last 3 fights. His last legitimate opponent that was actually a decent fighter was in 2022. It's been a while for him, and he's been very inactive. So, and one thing also is that Souza tends to slow down as the fight goes. He does have cardio issues. And one thing I've noticed is Paulo Portillo has never been finished in his career, which is going to be extremely important against a guy that depends heavy on submissions and early in the fight. So I'm going to say Portillo wins this fight. I think he's going to be he's fought the better, stronger competition recently. He's been a little bit more active. I think he should have a clear cardio advantage in this spot if the fight gets beyond the opening round. The first round is going to be dangerous because obviously Souza is likely going to pressure with takedowns to go with the submission attempts really early. But if he doesn't get that submission early, I think Portillo is a live underdog. So as Souza slows down, I'm going to say Portillo begins to win more of the exchanges, landing more bigger damage, and then end up on top of a lot of those grappling exchanges. So I am going to say at plus 160, I do think Portillo is going to be the one to win this fight, and there's a big underdog value in him. So I'm going to say Portillo survives the opening early rounds, and he pulls off a upset by probably a late finish after Souza gasses out or just gets a decision win. So give me Portillo.
All right, that does it for the main event. So we will move to our next segment, our fighter to watch and our fight to watch. So Wager, let me ask you, who is your fighter to watch on LFA 238?
Fighter to watch is going to be my guy, Daniel Araujo. Like I said, this guy's boxing is really good, and I think this is going to be a tailor-made fight for him, for the guy that's going to want to strike with him for the most part. And I do think he's going to be able to land some boxing combinations, and I do think he's going to get this fight done by knockout. So this is a kid we should keep our eye on. As long as he gets a little better in those grappling game, I think we can see him in the UFC possibly one day. So give me Daniel Araujo as the fighter to watch.
All right, for me, I'm going to go with Gabriel Vinicius in the co-main event. He's on a 3-fight winning streak in the LFA, 2 of those wins coming by submission. I think he's going to add another win to his win streak and go to 8-0. Yeah, give me Gabriel Vinicius as my fighter to watch on LFA 238. What about your fight to watch? What is your fight to watch on LFA 238?
Fight to watch is honestly, fight to watch for me is gonna be Gusto versus Lopes. Just because I want to see what Lopes is gonna come out there and throw. Like I said, he has back-to-back spinning attack techniques to win the fight. I do think he's gonna probably use a little bit of his grappling, but it's a lot of unknowns in this fight, honestly, especially with Augusto being so young. A lot of unknowns in this fight, so I think it's more of a fight to watch because I'm very interested to see how this fight plays out. So I'm gonna say Neto Lopes and Augusto is gonna be the fight to watch. And also, real quick, I have 2 fighters to watch. I usually don't do this, but the second fighter to watch is gonna be JPV Pablo Vieira. This guy's gonna be in the UFC too one day. This guy has the goods. He's an all-around great fighter as well. So I guess there's 2 fighters to watch for me, and Daniel Araujo and JPV.
All right. My fight of the night is going to be Taveira versus Chaves. If you guys have been watching the show, you know how much I love the flyweight division. I think this one's going to be a lot of striking. And yeah, I think this one's going to be an entertaining fight. Both guys can land some good shots, going to be looking to mix it up on the feet. So if you're a fan of striking, this will be the fight to watch. So yeah, Taveira and Chaves will be my fight to watch. Wager, what do you got going on your channel the rest of the week here?
Rest of the week, I have a busy week next week. Obviously, we have the fights like always, baseball and all that stuff. But I'm going to be getting some interviews lined up next week, guys, with some LFA fighters. We're going to have Benny the Bull Orozco. We're going to be interviewing him for the second time. We've already interviewed. If you guys follow my page, you guys know I've interviewed him once. And I told you guys the sound did not work on the whole interview. So we are going to be redoing that whole interview. And I will be doing that live on YouTube. I'm also going to be interviewing LFA champ Richie Miranda that just got signed to the UFC. So we're going to be interviewing him as well. Jake Woodley, we're going to be getting an interview with him sometime in the next 7 days. We're going to be talking about that as well. Jake Woodley just got the fastest knockout in MMA history in 4 seconds. So stay tuned. We have a lot of interviews coming up on our page. It's going to be a busy week for me.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah, for me, I will have a new episode of 5 MMA Bets in just 10 minutes coming out tomorrow. So definitely subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like, keep an eye out for that. And yeah, definitely show some support. Yeah, hit the like, drop a comment. Yeah, 3rd episode this week. We've definitely been appreciating all you guys who have been commenting. Definitely appreciate hearing from you guys and chatting with you down there. So yeah, definitely keep that up as much as you can. And yeah, definitely subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Wager. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. We've been enjoying doing this for you guys, and we'll keep it coming. So thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.